What is up, ladies and germs? Welcome back for another episode of We Draft Paper. I don't have gameplay today, but we do have the draft in entirety, and this one was a journey to get through. I had obstacles to go through. I had signals that were apparent that I had to adjust my draft through, and it ended up being a pretty good deck. So enjoy the rest of the video. Once again, I'm MTG Flux, and if you guys like this kind of stuff, please like, comment, and subscribe. So thank you so much for hanging out. All right, guys, let's get into our first pack here. So, just looking for things to believe in, and that is a always good rule to start, like whenever you are into a draft, but especially a draft that you're unfamiliar with. But this pack was a really good pack. It was. So we had the Fire Nation Drill, which is what we end up keeping here. But you also have True Ancestry. You have Boomerang Basics. I think there was Waterbending Lesson as well in there. You had a Golgari. A Rakdos Land. So a lot of different options. I think taking the drill here. The drill is one of the better rares you can open up. It's a powerful vehicle. 6/3 vigilance. I'm sorry, 6/3 trample, and then it's also a kill spell, and it's only crew 2. So there was plenty of games where I was just beating in and doing my thing, but had my eye on the True Ancestry and the Boomerang Basics as well, and we'll see what this turns into. This is one of those picks, I don't want to commit too hard to a color. Tough if I'm one or the other of red or green with black, which I have full intention to try to draft black. Could be a splashable card. I just wanted to open up the possibility and just kind of go into my original motive, like draft good cards and try to find the lane. And my signals get kind of thrown in different places. Toph doesn't really give me any signals. And so this was an interesting pick. And it ended up being wrong. However, I think it was a strong speculative pick. I have the Red Shrine, which makes a 1/1 monk token with prowess up. So I'm like, I'm already 3 colors, right? This touches one of my colors if I'm looking to play all my cards. And there's also the Green Shrine in this pack as well. I'm like, that could wheel. So if it is open enough, because I think the Sentries is actually the 2/3 Death Touch Reach green creature was probably the right pick here. But I ended up saying, hey, I'm going to take the Shrine and see if that deck is open. I don't regret that pick because I think it's good to give yourself open doors. So if you look at the first 3 picks, I'm like, man, this guy doesn't know his lane. And so I'm thinking, like, let's try to check these signals as they come in. So white is looking open. Momo coming through. Usually Momo is more or less so it can very easily be taken in the first 3 or 4 picks. Like, easy. But I'm looking at if I'm committed to a lot of colors, and I think Cycle of Renewal is going to be the pick here. Boomy Bash, not really great. That's not the kind of removal spell you always want to be in. It's playable, very much so, but it's just not where I want to be in this spot. Noticing that black is being cut pretty hard here. So based off my first pick with the drill, not feeling super confident about the space of black, but I am seeing a lot of green and white come through. So out of those 2 colors, at this point of the draft, I'm like, green, let's just draft good green cards and kind of go from there. And a lot of the green cards do fix mana. So that's important to, like, understand to navigate like moving forward. So do I feel good about where I'm at in this draft? No. Am I still like confident and think that I'm going to have a playable deck? Yes, very much so, especially since I have some flexibility with some mana fixing. Um, and then I have some very strong cards. Toph's super strong, the Drill's super strong. So seeing some black cards here, so keeping that of note. I see this was probably not, I mean, that was a sold out. So like we're going to take sold out every time. Like premium, removal, instant speed. And I had to look at these cards. I'm like, all right, so I'm off the rails here. I'm definitely just trying to find my space in which I should be in. This was definitely not the right pick because I end up taking I think the archers, because I'm looking at this Toph and I'm thinking, all right, let's think about card advantage and or just seeing more cards and being able to do that, because the real consideration was Badger Mold. Because if I know I'm going to be core green, which I don't know at this point yet, I think the Badger Mole is probably the best card here. I think Badger Mole is great. And it actually is awesome. So anyways, I'm just between the Indoctrination and then the Archers. So still kind of in between on what I feel like I should be in. This pack, not so great for us. Rocky Rebuke, I actually ended up not even playing it. It was fine, like a pickup at this point. There's nothing that really inspired me in this pack particularly. The land probably would have been the best pick for me, but I also at this point had no white cards. But if I was a little bit more proactive, I probably would have counted on white being open, and I probably should pull a land from that, even if I didn't like all the cards. I take the Mana Rock here, didn't end up playing it, but still not knowing my actual space. So it was more of a safe pick. I think the right pick was Glider Kids. Just understanding that white's open, and I probably need to start jumping in there. But I'm still holding out a little bit, just trying to more so be safe. So drafting multicolored decks does provide. So we get the True Ancestry here and a Rakdos land. But I love True Ancestry. It's one of my more favorite cards of the set. I just think it's great value, and there's a lot of fun things to do with that. Anyway, it's ambitious to draft multicolor decks, but it's also safe to just draft good cards even if they're in different colors, as long as you're paying attention to a super late Sentry, super gift, and that was great. So feeling good about staying in green. Really okay with the Golgari space, but I'm not ignoring, the lanes that are open. So I'm like, I could be white over one of these colors, at this point, because I start seeing it. But we just try to cut black a little bit to finish up the pack. Double green cards I'm just going to take the fixing. Cycle renewal is going to be great for us, especially when we're already kind of in the thick of playing multiple color cards. So I'm going into this next pack with the clear and last pick Badger Mole. Oh yeah. So green it is. But that being said, going into this next pack, I still don't know my colors. I have 2 price of renewals, so like my splash is looking fine. Let's just continue to draft good cards. Sold Out's looking really great here. Got a Grand, Combustion Man, Appa, Momo, and nothing. Just kind of butt butt pack. Doesn't matter how much you look at it, Tim, it's still a butt pack. Nothing's worse, but premium removal, we'll take it. Sold outs were fantastic every time I saw the card. At this point, I'm sorting colors, kind of like when I take some second looks at my deck, see where I'm at. But gets kind of fun. I saw a double-sided card, and I peek at the Bant Ang card. I'm like, okay, so it's either Trap. I saw the Kyoshi Warriors, which isn't bad, then Earth King. So I think I do not regret this pick whatsoever because of how my game's played out. But I think the Earth King is the safer pick. But I understand that my fixing is going to be pretty good. Base green, splash in any color I want. And so I'm taking the Ang because I'm wanting to have a card that just like really puts me over the edge. Ang picking up a 4, is it 4? Yeah, it's a 4-drop or less creature straight to the battlefield. Super good. And then I feel rewarded after I pick this next pick. So there's another trap here, which is great. Long Fang's fine, but no. We got the Bounty Hunters, Beifong's Bounty Hunters, which I love this card. Like if they deal with it, they need to exile it for it to not get its trigger of whenever a creature dies, a non-land creature dies, you earthbend equal to its power. So I'm like, okay, now we're in there. Let's see if what kind of starts flowing. After these couple picks, we kind of stale out, I feel like, in this pack. Just to be clear, I was 3-0 tonight, and it was really, really good games, and I had a really nice. So this was an interesting pick. We have Katara, and then we have a land. So it may be silly. I just picked up an Ang, which is the Bant Ang, but I'm thinking about my fixing. Thinking about where I want to kind of land. And Katara at this time doesn't really affect any of my cards. And I don't know what different options I can go down. So, and then we picked up the Roots here. Roots is like, oh yeah, 2 mana ramp and fixing. Like, get into my deck. That's exactly what I want. So, yeah. So I think not picking Katara. I think that Katara would have been just fine in my deck, but I'm not. I'm looking at Golgari as my color. Understanding it's a double splash for Ang. So I'm okay with that with now 3 different bits of spells that ramp me and fixes my mana. So I don't know. I felt like taking Katara was probably a step too ambitious that I was not willing to take. But then again, on the other sense, if I'm thinking freely at this point, well, am I banned? I don't want to just double pip splash the drill. I think the drill is still one of the best cards in my deck. But it was just careful consideration. And this is where I start looking at white. The Earth Kingdom guys, but I know I'm green, and I know I need to lower my curve. So I take the 2-drop to 2 mana 2/2 to really just start filling out the slots in my deck. So this was a tough pick. Because I know I'm playing colors, I'm like, well, how off the rails do I want to get, So the Dragonfly Swarm is a really nice option. It's definitely Path to Redemption would have been the correct pick here. But it's literally the pack after this. I'm like, man, I can't just keep passing all these white cards. I'm passing quality white cards. I just don't think it's the right thing to do. But I take the Dragonfly Swarm here just in speculative. I have at least 3 or 4 lessons at this point. we can lean in a little bit, like, and get some value off that. But it was definitely Path to Ancestry, or no, Path to Redemption. I'm sorry. That would have been the right pick. I don't regret the pick because I like the thought of just trying to stay open and in that space. And with that lesson thought in my head, the same reason I picked the Dragonfly Swarm is the same reason why I just picked up Boomy there. And I'm like, okay, so nothing here that I care for. But I think I'd just take the healers, I'm pretty sure. Because at this point, allies, I can see that is still kind of flowing. I may take the otter, or the otter penguin. Did not play it. Definitely should have took the healer. So I guess this is the pick where I'm just like, all right, this is ridiculous. But green still being open. But it didn't take until, I guess, the end of this pack is where I started committing to maybe looking at some white cards. And at this point, I'm just getting rid of all the red cards. I'm going to have to make some decisions and have some narrow basis. Like, I know I'm going to be green. I'm committing myself to black, having a sold out and the drill, and then I am playing the Aang. Like, that's where my headspace is. I think between the 3 bits of fixing spells is going to be what keeps me in there. And airbending lesson, just got, well, let's just take this. If I know I'm going to be at some capacity white and it's clearly open, like, that's what I need to take. So seeing, as we went through this whole draft, just talking about all the signals and stuff like that, yes, I knew that white was open. No, I didn't necessarily want to be white because I was having different options. Kyoshi Warriors is, I don't know what more of a sign that you want. The third to last pick of this pack. The card's great. And double white card here is funny too. But that being said, like, yes, I should have gotten white sooner. Would have made my deck better. Well, results will tell you no, because I went 3-0 tonight. But yes, I think more statistically probably could have been a little bit better. I'm so glad I didn't, though, because sometimes it's just like there's reasons why you pick each card. Like, this was a nice little open. I was like, well, if I'm really considering this white, it being so open, and I have a few allies, so maybe no one picks up this Haru because green's been open this direction, because it was on pack 1. It would be great. But let's just take this ally payoff and go from there. Aang being an ally is super nice. And even the Kyoshi Warriors, like all those things, like just nice. I have a nice feud, the Sentries, which is a nice ally to have too. Any rate, but I don't think it was the wrong pick. I'm over here literally counting allies. That's funny. So the black splash is pretty locked in. So I'm pretty sure this is kind of the spot where I'm like, I don't want to be blue. I don't want to be red. I'll splash Aang for the blue. But maybe I am in an Abzan space. So that could be a possibility. This pack is a good pack. I take the glider over the path to redemption. I like the glider just fine in this deck so far because I have some really strong creatures that I can make flying. It's just as simple as that. Equip costs only 2, so I feel like it's good rate in that spot. I keep picking up my deck and going through it and just like, oh, look at this monstrosity. Got a Rocky Rebuke here. We have the deal 4 to target attacking or blocking creature, and you gain life equal to the excess damage. The rings. The rings is what I take here. It's a fine pick. I like it over Rocky Rebuke. It's less likely to get blown out. This pack provided some confusion for me, for sure. I mean, the Herbalist is a great card, but I'm definitely... So, Dolly Agents. I'm like, okay, now we're doing and sold out. Not in the same pack. I could have had 3 sold outs, but I took the Dolly Agents. So, the Dolly Agents does provide... So, I see a lot of synergies, like with the counters, with the green, white, ally, token creator, or 1/1 counter creator. Badger Mole, and things like that. So I'm like, okay, this could work out. I'm considering this land very highly, even over a second Badger Mole. Second Badger Mole is tempting, for sure. Zuko is just really bad. Just got to take fixing here. This helps a lot. My mana actually worked out pretty fine. I think I had 2 duels. One Golgari, one Orzhov duel. So both helping black, and then both touching one another. So it was good fixing on top of the 3 different bits of fixing spells, the renewals and the roots. So I still feel like I can play any card at this point. So like, I am just focusing on taking good cards. The synergies that kind of crossed over. This is almost a take. This set crosses over synergies really well. Like allies. There's a lot of good allies that have +1/+1 synergies. And then that can also have a nice little lesson package and payoffs that all kind of mesh together. And that's what this deck really did really well. Glider Kits is a nice pickup here. And this kind of just shows my commitment to like trying to see some allies, and all the quality allies that I was seeing come through that were playable to me were in white. But at any rate, so crossover synergies is a big deal because a lot of sets don't do a nice job crossovering the synergies. This one, it crossed over super well. Like, there's a lot of good lesson ally decks out there, or counters lessons deck out there. And like, because there's enough cards that have payoffs that share types and all sorts of things. And it did really well. This was an interesting pick. I know my curve's not looking real like juicy at this point, but I'm like, well, I'm taking an ally here, but I think the Sentries is definitely a better card. But I know that I need to lower my curve a little bit. If you guys like this TV series, please let me know. Leave a comment, suggestion, thoughts on what you guys feel about this space. I just want to... True Ancestry this late. Oh, love that card. 2 copies of that. I only played 1. But yeah, my games were really awesome tonight. Had my game 1 was against Azorius. Mid-range, more like tempo. I ended up getting them. We had really close games. And then my round 2, I won in 2 games. Against Rakdos aggro, but they were very, very aggro. They got me down to like 2 life by turn 6, but I was able to Dolly Agents and get Dolly Agents into was it Fluffy or Flopsy, and then just kind of start draining them for 5, and then just like getting everything back as well. And I kind of did the same kind of action in the final boss against another Rakdos, but even more interactive Rakdos. They're playing Azula, Never Lies, and a lot of firebending lessons and stuff like that. So, and that's how we took down the knight. I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out. And like I said, if you guys have any suggestions or like what you see, like what you're watching, love hanging out with us, just give us, leave a comment, like, subscribe, any of the things. Here's the deck list. Sorry for the glare because I'm, terrible. But that being said, I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out. I will definitely catch you guys in the next video. And this is the next episode of We Draft Paper. Thank you so much.